Some people say you just know when you're being watched. I used to laugh at that, until the night I saw a face pressed against my bedroom window. I was around 10, living with my mom and sister on a quiet peninsula in Norway. We weren't rich, but we had peace. A small house surrounded by pine trees, close enough to hear the sea at night. I used to fall asleep to that sound, feeling safe. That winter, the sun disappeared early. By 6 p.m., the world was swallowed by darkness. One night, my mom told me to go to my room and watch TV because she was expecting guests. I remember my room being cold, so I turned on the heater and ran back to grab some candy from the living room. As I reached for the door handle, something inside me froze. It wasn't noise, it was awareness. Like my body sensed a presence before my mind did. I turned toward my bedroom window, and for a split second, I could have sworn I saw a figure, a shadow leaning close. But when I looked again, nothing. I brushed it off. Kids imagine things, right? When I returned, though, my window was open, just slightly. I was sure I hadn't touched it. I remember whispering, "Mom," to no one. The room suddenly colder than before. Then came the sound, soft scratching on the glass. I turned slowly. There was a man's face pressed against my window. Pale skin, dark, sunken eyes. His hands cupped around his face as he stared in, unblinking. I couldn't scream at first. I just stared back, thinking maybe it was a guest or someone who needed help. But when his eyes widened, something in me broke. I screamed for my mom. By the time she came, the man had vanished. Minutes later, the doorbell rang. My mom wouldn't let me near the hallway. I remember her voice trembling as she said, "No, no one ordered anything here," and then slammed the door. A year later, we moved away. It wasn't until I was an adult that Mom told me the truth. That same man had been arrested for murder. The victim was a 13-year-old girl, last seen in her bedroom, her window open. Sometimes I wonder, if my mom hadn't been home that night, would I have been the one found in his attic? You can tell yourself you're overthinking until the house proves you wrong. My brother's girlfriend, Amanda, was looking for her first apartment. She found a Craigslist ad that looked perfect. Cheap, quiet neighborhood, female roommates only. She emailed the landlord, a woman named Julie, who replied almost instantly and invited her for a tour at 8 p.m. That timing felt odd, but Amanda didn't think much of it. When she arrived, there was a note taped to the front door. Door broken. Used back door. The backyard was messy. Tall grass, a rusted lawn chair, and silence. She knocked. An older man opened the door. He smiled like he'd been expecting her. "Julie's working late," he said. "I'm her uncle. I can show you around." He seemed polite enough. But as they walked through the house, Amanda realized something was off. There was no furniture. The air smelled stale, like dust and damp wood. Every room was empty except for random debris. When she asked to see the tenant's room, he said quickly, "That one's private. Don't open it." The front door, she noticed, was nailed shut from the inside. Then he said, "Oh, I almost forgot to show you the basement." He opened the door. The stairs descended into complete darkness. "Ladies first," he said. She hesitated, and then her phone buzzed. A text from her brother. "Hey, are you still out?" Amanda pretended to answer a call. "Oh, you're here. I'll come around front," she said loudly. The man looked confused as she slipped past him, smiled, and walked out. Then she ran. Police later told her the house had been foreclosed for 6 months. The man had been squatting there. They found dirty blankets, porn pages plastered to the walls, and, in the basement, a rope tied across the stairs at shin height, like a trap. Amanda never rents alone anymore. Sometimes the scariest thing online isn't what people hide. It's what they already know about you. When I was 17, my parents moved us across the country. I lost my friends, my confidence, everything familiar. So, when David, a quiet guy I used to know from back home, sent me a friend request on Facebook, it felt comforting. He wasn't close back then, but we started talking about school, loneliness, life. He became the one person who made me feel understood. Over the years, we messaged almost daily. He even helped me with college applications. He told me about his job at Pizza Hut, his soccer weekends, his mom. It felt real. When I went home to visit, I told him we should meet. He refused, said he was too embarrassed because his pictures were heavily edited. Then he got distant, cruel, mocking things I'd told him in confidence. Weeks later, at a small get-together, I saw him. The real David. He looked exactly like his photos. But when I confronted him, he looked confused. I don't even have Facebook, he said. He even showed me his phone. No messages, no account. That night, we searched his name online. There was a Facebook profile, same photos, same stories, same posts, except it used his mother's maiden name. The real David scrolled through the page, his face growing pale. The profile mentioned things only he would know: where he worked, the movie he'd just watched, even what flavor of ice cream he liked. There were photos from soccer games taken from the audience. He said, "No one in my family takes those." Whoever made that account had been watching him and me for years. The profile vanished after we confronted it. I thought it was over. Then a year later, my mom called me. "Hey, why did you make another Facebook with my name?" It wasn't me. The account had my photos, my details, and even used my mom's first name as my middle name. Something only family knew. I deleted Facebook after that. But sometimes, late at night, I wonder if someone else is still out there, living my life better than I ever could. We used to play War on the Hill. One summer evening, war came to us. It happened when I was in 5th grade. My friends and I were obsessed with airsoft battles. We lived in a safe suburban neighborhood, the kind where parents wave from driveways and kids ride bikes till sunset. That evening, my friend Tegan and I climbed up the concrete runoff above the hill. It gave us a perfect view. That's when Tegan said, "Hey, who's that guy up there?" A man was walking down the slope toward us. He looked normal. Jeans, jacket, maybe mid-40s. We assumed he was a hiker, but then he climbed the fence and came right up to us. He smiled strangely and said, "If I poke you with this, the snakes won't bite." He held a syringe. I remember the world shrinking, the air, the sound, my heartbeat. Tegan's arm was in his grip. I screamed. Tegan kicked him and ran. I fired my airsoft gun into the air as loud as I could. The other kids appeared, shouting. The man froze, then bolted up the hill, disappearing into the brush. We told our parents. The police searched. They never found him. For years, we laughed it off as that weird airsoft story. But sometimes, I dream of that syringe, glinting in the last light of sunset, and wonder what would have happened if I hadn't screamed in time. Another tale ends, but the night never sleeps. Join Night Creep Horror Stories for more whispers from the dark. Subscribe if you dare.